It was Christmas Eve at Knothole, and the freedom fighters were enjoying some spending time together and preparing for the arrival of Santa Claus. You might be thinking, shouldn't they be planning something against Robotnik? Well, any other time of year they would. This time, however, was special, since it was one of the few pure and wholesome things that Robotnik couldn't take away from them through this reign. As such, they cherished it as the one time of year they can truly be free, even if only temporary. At this particular moment, they were finishing putting together their Christmas tree by stacking up on each other's shoulders to put the star on top. The lineup from bottom to top was Dulcy, Rotor, Bunny, Nicole, who had a solid body made of nanites, Sally, Sonic, Antoine, and Tails. Now I know what you're all thinking. Why didn't Tails or Bunny fly up to put it there themselves? Why didn't Bunny just use her telescoping legs to do it? Why doesn't Dulcie do it herself, since, with her being the biggest, she wouldn't need a ladder? Why is he listing all these questions I might be asking him? To answer the last one, to beat you to the punch before you can type it in the comments. To answer the rest, because it's the holidays and it's more fun when others work together on stuff like that. Now, unfortunately, this arrangement had issues. I can't reach the top of the tree from here, Tails said. He was right. The top of the tree only went as high as Rotor's chest when he was standing on Dulcie's shoulders, which, considering Dulcie's own long neck, was about where her head got into that position. Yeah, Rotor said. I mean, I get this is for teamwork, but our combined height makes us taller than the tree. Plus, Bunny's robot-sized legs on my shoulders are putting a strain on my back. Okay, I admit this wasn't thought through very well, Sally said, but I think we can work with it. They tried getting into position where Tails could put the star on. After a few awkward attempts, they succeeded. It's on! Tails cried. The celebration was short-lived, as the loud cracking noise was heard. Rotor, was that your back? Yup, Rotor said, heavily downplaying the severity of his pain. They each climbed down, and Nicole tried to get Rotor's spine back into alignment. They all silently agreed not to try this again for Rotor's sake. Later that night, after everyone went to sleep, Dulcie woke up with a craving for a midnight snack. When she woke, she saw Santa's sleigh fly over Knothole. Making an effort to contain her excitement so as not to wake the others, she checked the tree. To her confusion, she found no presents under the tree. Upon closer inspection, she noticed tracks made by what seemed to be tacking dreads and chicken feet. Where'd these come from? She quietly asked. She followed the tracks as far as the edge of the great forest and noticed some unusual activity in Robopopolis. Meanwhile, Tails was napping peacefully in his bed when Dulcie came back. Being too big to fit through the door, Dulcie opted to open Tails' window and gently wake him up. Dulcie, he said groggily, what are you doing up? Okay, so, Dulcie explained, I woke up feeling hungry, and I saw old St. Nick fly right past leaving presents, and I saw tracks leading to Robotropolis. I thought you could help me since, apart from Rotor, Sally, and Nicole, you're the smartest one here. Why didn't you ask them? Tails asked. Rotor's still recovering from his back pain, Dulcie explained. Nicole's in her console in Sally's room, and you know how Sally gets if she's disturbed. Okay, Tails relented. I'll see what I can do. Dulcie took Tails to the tracks, and the young fox gasped in recognition. Recognize those? Dulcie asked. Those are from Scratch and Grounder, Tails said. Sonic and I faced them when we traveled Mobius. The two followed the tracks to Robotropolis and found a secret vantage point where they could see a robot chicken and a robot with tank treads for feet and drills for a nose and hands with a big sack of gifts being for a rather annoyed Snively. Let me get this straight, Snively said. You found Knothole Village? Yeah, the two robots said. So you know where it is, Snively continued. Right again, Scratch said. And instead of staying in that location so we could track your signals and attack Knothole, Snively said, you opted to steal the presence of the freedom fighters and bring them back here in an attempt to gain Robotnik's favor. Exactly, Grounder said proudly. You incompetent fool, Snively scolded. Leading Robotnik to Knothole would have been far more conducive to gaining his favor. This realization caused the two robots to drop their jaws on the floor. Then they proceeded to argue. Why didn't you think of that? Scrouch said to Grounder. Why didn't you? Grounder challenged. You're the smarter of us. You're both idiots, Snively shouted. Now you two are going to remain here while I go to decide what to do with you. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir, Snively, sir, the two robots saluted. Snively left the room, muttering to himself and questioning why Robot hadn't scrapped them by now. Neither of them were aware that Tails and Dulcy were listening the whole time. Dulcy herself couldn't believe Robotnik could make something so stupid. Tails, on the other hand, had a look of familiar annoyance. Yep, I expected this kind of thing from them, he said. What do we do? Dulcy asked. Tails said, a long tattered curtain that could make a Santa coat big enough for Dulcy and Tails to wear if Tails stood on Dulcy's head, since her neck was so long that it wouldn't help if he were on her shoulders. I have an idea, Tails said. We'll dress like Santa and fool those bandits. You sure it'll work? Dulcy asked. It's Scratch and Grounder, Tails said. Sonic could have a paper bag over his head and they wouldn't recognize him. Well, okay, Dulcy said. So they dressed up like Santa. Tails sat on top of Dulcy's head and put on a Santa hat and fake beard that Dulcy conveniently had in her pouch. The coat went as far down as Dulcy's knees in the front and her tail base in the back. Now I need you to kick down the wall so I don't hit my head going through the door, Tails instructed. Got it, Dulcy whispered. So she kicked down the wall to make a hole big enough for them. The two robots were surprised as they saw what they thought was Santa. Santa Claus? They said in unison. That's right, Tails said in a deep voice. You must return the presents you stole or I'll put you on the permanent naughty list. Is that the best threat you can come up with? Scratch asked. Dulcy stomped her foot, making the room shake. Do you really want to test your luck? Tails asked. The two robot bulls consented that this would be a bad idea. Oh, we'll do it, Scratch said as he and Grounder started handing the presents to Santa. Just don't hurt us. Very good, the fake Santa said. The presents were still in the sack, which the duo escorted back to the forest. I can't believe that worked, Dulcy said. I can, Tails said. Then he got an idea. Hey, since we're still in the disguise, how about we deliver the presents to the others individually? With it still being dark out, they won't see us very well if they wake up and see us. Sounds good to me, Dulcy said. Just as their deliveries were about to start, a deep rumbling noise can be heard. Dulcy? Tails asked. Was that your stomach? Yeah, Dulcy said. I still haven't had my midnight snack. I have another idea, Tails said. Since we left milk and cookies in our cottages as well as the central Christmas tree in case Santa visits us individually, you can have those when your stomach growls. I have no problems with that, Dulcy said before her belly growled again. Neither does my belly. So they went to work. At each cottage, Dulcy's belly would growl and she'd stuff the cookies in her mouth and down the milk. Each individual plate did little to satisfy her stomach, which was easily the biggest of all the freedom fighters. But as they piled up, she found herself that much less hungry. Soon, they delivered all the presents and removed their disguise. We're finally done, Tails said before Dulcy's belly let out another rumble. Sorry, she said. I'm still hungry. I'll get some chocolate and it's back to sleep. Dulcy went to get some chocolate from her personal stash that she only told Tails about. As she proceeded to eat, she felt a sudden weight in her pouch. Looking down, she saw that Tails had climbed into her pouch and fallen asleep in it. Dulcy found the sight too precious to be disturbed, so she simply let Tails sleep where he was. After eating enough to fill her stomach, she went to sleep inside near the Christmas tree. The next morning, everybody woke up. Sonic saw his presents just on his cottage's stoop. Looks like Santa gave me my own gifts individually. Everyone else gathered and opened their presents and enjoyed their time together. To this day, none of them knew that Tails and Dulcy saved Christmas. The one who did was Santa Claus, who saw fit to put both of them on his permanent nice list. The end.